You're now listening to E-Rob Music.
That's too far, sister. Oh, block, we're giving away $25,000.
Welcome to Streetball Madness TV. My name's Karl from Beston Greenway. I'm here at the wonderful Kicks 101 store on Collins Street in the city. Now, I'm lucky enough to be joined today by former NBA legend, former coach of mine, and a guy I'm lucky to call a friend, Sedale Threatt. Welcome, Sedale.
Glad to be here.
Very happy to have you here too as well. Now, when we're here to talk about Streetball Madness. When I think of streetball, what I think makes streetball so great is that it reminds you of where you fell in love with the game. Whether it be your local court, whether it be your local school, wherever. So I wonder, before all the NBA and before all those things, where did Sedale Threatt fall in love with basketball?
Well, I started in Atlanta, Georgia, and I actually started on cement courts. And it was a toughness that the cement court brings to your game. When you go to the basket and you get hit, it's straight cement. And a lot of kids go up on this wood floor. So I think a lot of kids need to get on this cement and get some toughness to them. And I think that's where I actually started playing on the cement.
That's it. There's no referees out there to protect you.
No refs, and there's no fouls out there.
That's it. Now, in terms of your NBA career, everyone always thinks with the NBA it's a road paved with gold. It's money, ego, etc. But hey, you were drafted as a 6th round draft pick, 139th, right? So I know that you had to fight day in, day out, not only to get your roster spot, but to hold on to your roster spot. Tell me what that day-to-day grind of your early NBA life, how it was like.
Well, I think it started with coming in out of college. College was great for me because I had the chance to play 4 years. A lot of basketball players go D1, and they actually have to sit 2 years. Well, I went to a small school and I played 4 years. And I don't care where you get drafted at. If you first round or get a 10th, it doesn't matter because you got to get there and survive. The first 3 years, they guarantee you some money, but after that, they just basically testing you out. After that, it's a grind. You got to work and you got to be tough, and you got to be tough mentally. And playing against those kind of basketball players, because you're playing against the best basketball players in the world, and you got to compete every day. You got to work, and you got to have work ethic. And I really had an opportunity as a young kid to play against a lot of NBA guys. Growing up in Atlanta, I played against all the Atlanta Hawks at 14 years old because I was pretty good at that age. And so those guys, hey, Sedale, you can play with us because you can handle it. And I think that helped me as far as the transition once I got to the pros. And so I didn't have that fear factor. So a lot of college kids come out and they trying to find their way. Yeah. But I always had that experience when I was 14 years old. So I think the transition was easy for me to get to the pros.
Oh, 100%. And then, so fast forward to 1991, you traded to the infamous LA Lakers franchise, I think, from Seattle for 3 draft picks. And you arrive expecting to be the backup point guard to the great Earvin Magic Johnson. Then all of a sudden, out of the blue, health condition requires Magic to retire, and all of a sudden you're thrust into the spotlight of being the point guard of the LA Lakers. Talk to me about that moment and what that time meant to you.
Well, that transition was actually easy. A lot of people ask me this question, but the transition was easy because I had been in the league. So I understood the NBA, I understood the competition, who you was playing against. I think if it had been a young guy, a rookie, or a second, third year guy in that spot, I don't know if he could have handled that. Because I had played in the league for a while, the transition was easy. I mean, I played in Philadelphia too, and you got Dr. J. Moses, Tony Cheeks, and those guys actually won a championship. So to get the experience from those guys and then go to LA, the actual transition was easy. But the difference was you got to win when you're in LA. You lose 1-2 games, they on top of you. So it wasn't too much pressure. It was you have to have the talent to win it. But that transition was actually easy for me.
Oh, 100. And now I suppose moving forward, you talk about super teams, right? In the sense that you talk about the Philadelphia team with Moses Malone, Dr. J, etc. And now all the talk today is about these super teams. The Warriors, the Cavs, the Miami Heat. And everyone's talking about it like it's a recent phenomenon. Back in '97, you were playing on a super team at the Houston Rockets with with Sir Charles, you know, Hakeem the Dream, Clyde Drexler. What was that? What was it like to be the point guard for that super team? And then secondly, how the hell did you keep all those egos in check?
That was a problem. With Barkley, Dream, and Drexler, the hard part was trying to get those guys the ball. When you come down the basketball court, you got the Dream on the left side over here. The Dream, the Dream, the Dream. He's calling his name the whole game. So he wants you to bring him the ball. So you bring it down the side, drop it into him. The next time down the court, Barkley says, "Damn, don't worry about the Dream. Bring me the ball. You got to come down the right side." So I hear this guy, the Dream, the Dream, the Dream. Barkley, bring me the ball. And then Drexler will come up to you and say, "Forget about both of these guys. You bring the ball to me." So now I had to figure out which one to get the ball to. And then Rudy T, the head coach at the time, said, "Sedale, this how it is in Houston. Just make the right read and the right play." And I forgot about the egos, but man, I tell you, it wasn't easy. Because one of those guys, if two of the guys got their 20 and the other guy got 12, 13 points, the next game he was screaming at you, "Bring me the ball." So you had to deal with this. I just made the right read.
I think you're being too modest here. I remember you telling me a story on a plane where they were all telling you to get the ball to them, and then you just went down and you go, "I shot it myself and I made it."
Exactly, because you got to get yourself off, and you got other people on the court too you got to get off. But those big three egos, you got to mesh those egos.
Now, speaking about these plane stories, you know, I was lucky enough to be on a team with you, and I spent many a time on the aeroplane where you told me all these great NBA stories of your past. Give everyone here one of your great stories on the court and off the court.
Well, I think one of the things I remember more is playing with Michael Jordan. And one day he rung me up. He said, "Look, I just signed a new contract with car dealership. I'm coming to get you." And I said, "Well, how long?" He said, "I'll be there in about 30 minutes. So I said, "Okay, I'm gonna jump in the shower. I'll be ready when you get here." All of a sudden, 5 minutes later, he outside blowing the horn, bang, bang, bang. He didn't give me enough time to get there. I realized that he was speeding where he was coming from. So I get dressed real quickly, jump in the car, and all of a sudden we driving through Chicago, nice neighborhoods. But Jordan is actually, you know, in a 35 doing 75, right? We speeding, just running around this city, right? And all of a sudden it's a cruise come on, police pull us over, right? And I'm thinking, oh yeah, Michael Jordan here, oh yeah. They taking you to jail because you doing 75 in a 35, right? All of a sudden the police get out there, both of the guys get out the car, and the one on the wrong, I'm on the right side, so the guy flip his holster. I'm like, "Hold up, man, Jordan is driving, not me. This is the guy you better be looking at." So they walking up real slow, looking in the car, and they get to the window, Jordan rolls the window down, and he looks in and he say, "Jordan, how you doing?" Jordan said, "I'm good." He said, "How fast was you going?" Jordan said, "I was doing 35. He said, "No, you weren't. You were doing 75. I'm thinking, stop talking and arrest Jordan, because it'll be Sedale, you gonna take me straight to jail, right? All of a sudden the guy said, police officer said, "Look, you come over to my house. I live about 10 minutes away." I was like, "You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me." So all of a sudden they turn on the siren, and we following the police to his house. We get there, it's about 15 kids out there. They got Michael Jordan shoes, jersey, everything, right? Jordan get out the car. So I'm still sitting in the car, roll the window down, I'm looking, having a good. Jordan just signed everything, so everybody hoopla, hoopla, the police officer standing next to him. And all of a sudden, he signed everything, and Jordan started walking back to the car. And he said, "Hey kids, that's Sedale Threatt in the car. Do y'all want his autograph?" They're like, "Nah, we don't want his autograph." I'm like, "Hold up. I've been insulted again. Jordan is speeding, he gets away. Now y'all gonna insult me, right?" Jordan gets in the car, come around, crank the car up, takes off, but guess what? He speed out of there. He's still doing 75 and a 35. I was like, wow, this is the great Michael Jordan there.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't do anything.
No. The stories. Moving on, I guess, like you had a great career in the NBA, then you moved to Europe afterwards, and then somehow you wind up here on the other side of the world, in Australia, with your son, Sedale Threatt Jr., who I was lucky enough to play with as well. What brought about the move to Australia? And secondly, what made you stay in Australia?
Well, I knew Peter Fittis. When I was in with the Lakers, Peter Fittis, who used to run and one, him and a couple of the guys would come out to LA. and come to and stay with me for like 2 weeks. They'll come out. Pete would drink all the alcohol he can get his hands on, go to all the Lakers games, have a good old time. And so they said, look, you need to come to Australia. I'm like, nah, man, Australia, that's too far, 16 hours. It's not a city. Most Americans think it's just out there. That's how they think. And they said, come on out. It took about 2 months. I said, okay, I'm going to fly out there. I had planned on staying for 2 days, fly in and see it and leave, right? Yeah. I get out here, fall in love with the place. I actually think it's a city here. It's normal. And had such a good time. I ended up staying 30 days and flew home. About a month, came back, and I said, you know what, this is a great place that you can stay. It's friendly, the Australians are great. And Peter at that time was going to buy one of the NBA teams. And he said, look, you want to coach. I said, hey, I'm somebody to do. It didn't happen. And so my son, he rolls out of here, and all of a sudden he falls in love with it, and we start working with the kids here. And I think now we've been doing it for 12, 13 years now, and we placed about 80 basketball players from Australia in the college system on scholarship. Yeah. And so that's what I'm doing now. I'm giving back. We actually was in America, what, 3 weeks ago, and we actually won the AAU. 13-year-old group from here won an AAU, and I couldn't believe it. I had never won an AAU in my career, and to win an AAU is tough. And we just got back, and the Australian team won an AAU, and I could not believe it. But we done it. It was good.
100%. And now to Streetball Madness, this tournament now. I know it's not Atlanta, Georgia. I know it's not the cement courts of Atlanta, Georgia against the Atlanta Hawks, right? But Australia, I think streetball culture is growing in Australia.
Yep.
And do you think this event, I mean, 25 grand on the line, the best streetballers from all over Australia coming down, do you think this event can help further bring streetball into prominence in Australia?
Look, yeah, to play on the street, that's where you got to start at anyway. You know, you play in these country clubs and you really don't get the real feel. You got to adjust your shot to the wind. You know, it's I think it's going to help basketball in general, but you got to be able to play street ball first to even play indoors. I mean, that's why I started, and I think it's going to be great for the Australian basketball players.
100%. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Streetball Madness, everyone. Applications open September 1st. They close on October 1st. 25 grand on the line. Seriously, 25 on the table to win this tournament. The best streetballers all across Australia. As I said, applications close October 1. Also, if you're not so keen on playing and you just want to see the best streetballers in all of Australia, come down December 1st to 3rd at Docklands. It's going to be insane. Promise everyone. 25 grand. 25k, what do you want? Streetball Madness.